tuning in today. Today will be the first edition of my random supply bullet journal challenge. If you haven't seen my Instagram stories, what I've done is I've taken every craft, art, bullet journal, art journal supply I have, and I took some scrap paper and I wrote it all down on scrap paper, and I put it in my little dumpster fire from Paper Studios if you're interested. I'll link it down below. And we're going to shake it up and we're gonna draw a supply and see what we get, and I'm gonna use it. So I have an Archer and Olive craft paper journal that I wasn't sure how I was gonna use it. So I feel like this is the perfect opportunity. So let's go. And then, sorry, just to be clear, I will be using other products as well, but primarily featuring the product that I pull. So for example, I know one of the cards in here is washi. So washi will kind of be the focal point of the image or of the art that I'm creating in my bullet journal. This is basically just for fun. Mostly also to use my supplies. I actually have quite a bit, and I want to use it, and this way you can also see the versatility of what you can do in a bullet journal. So without further ado, let's shake this up and we're gonna pull it out and see what we have. And today I'm working with stencils. Kind of boring considering what's in there, but we will play with it and see what I come up with. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you for watching. So today I'll be using my Stampers Anonymous Tim Holtz collection stencil. This floral stencil I believe is also Dina Wakley. I don't have or it's Stampers Anonymous as well. I'm sorry, I lost the packaging for it. I've had it for so long. And then the Dina Wakley as well. I've pulled some stickers and a stamp that I might use. I think I'm gonna use some sticker letters. These are from Studio Calico. This is from Studio Calico, and this is from Studio Calico. I also, in the process of organizing my cards, pulled this journaling card, and I really loved it. So I think I'm going to use this as a sort of inspiration palette for my design. And we will go from there. I'll be sharing more on my blog as well. And otherwise, I hope you enjoy. So I ended up using quite a few techniques in the making of this layout. What you see me doing here is I just drew the outline of the face that I wanted, so that I knew where the edge, the boundary was before I went in and I added the flowers. Now I'm using the most basic stenciling technique here, which is just to go in with a pencil and draw out the images that I wanted. This was great because it gave me the opportunity to kind of extend my image beyond the bounds of the stencil, meaning that I was able to carry on the stenciled image for as long as I needed. So I wanted to spread across both pages, and the stencil is only long enough to capture maybe 1.5 times the page. So what I ended up doing was I figured out how I needed the stencil to be, and then I just taped it in place so that it wouldn't move, and you'll get to see the results when I start adding color. Now I'm getting ready to use my bricked stencil, and what I'm doing here is I'm actually masking off portions of the stencil. And so instead of painstakingly looking at the image like you'll see me do a little later, I just used the stencil to kind of keep everything in place, and then just some washi tape. Normally I would use post-it notes, but the stickiness of the post-it note didn't extend far enough for what I wanted, so I just grabbed some washi tape. Now this is probably my most favorite way of using a stencil, which is to go in with some stamping and a blender brush and then apply the color to the stencil. And my favorite to use is the Tim Holtz Ranger Ink Distress Inks to do this. And I really like the effect it gives because it's not an even shade of color. It's kind of distress throughout the image. And what I found helped too was that I only colored in half the image, half the stenciled image at a time, and that way I was better able to line up the bricked image to continue the brick theme throughout. And since I created my own kind of stenciled image with the flowers, the stencil wasn't working anymore, so I just reused the washi, and I just washied down around the edges of the flowers and the face as well, and continued adding color. Now the next technique you'll see me use is I take my faces stencil and I go in with a white gel pen and I just directly trace the image with the gel pen. Now the trick to doing this with the gel pen, particularly a white gel pen, is that I kind of push the ink along the stencil to color it in. So if you push too hard with a gel pen, you're going to kind of scratch the ink off. But if you kind of just push down to get the ink to release and then you kind of just push the ink, I found that to be very successful in terms of coloring this image in. Now, I wanted to make my floral stenciled image white as well, but I wasn't going to use a gel pen for it because A, I was going to run out of gel pens to do it, and B, it was going to take forever. So the genius that I am thought it would be fun to use white watercolor. So I grabbed my Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White, which is my go-to white watercolor, and I started coloring in the outlines of the flower images. And probably about a third of the way, I had serious regrets of what I chose to do. It took forever. But again, knowing that doing it with gel pen was going to take even longer and I was going to run out of white gel pens, this kind of made do. And it's kind of nice because the paint didn't go on completely evenly. So there is some variation in parts of the image, and that kind of tied into the brick wall really well, which I kind of liked in the end. So I was happy with it once it was done. So now I'm going in and I'm coloring in with a black pen just where there were areas between the flowers, just to try and create some more definition in the flowers. Before I went in and added color, I used my Tombow Mono drawing pen. Well, initially I used my Fudenosuke, but I was running out of ink, so I grabbed my Tombow Mono drawing pen and colored it in, and it was fine. It worked great. To add further definition to my flower, I started outlining the edges. I decided to go in with my watercolor paints to add color in first before I finished doing the edging with the black pen, mostly because my black pen is a water-based pen as well, so the watercolor was going to pick up that black and spread it into my flowers, which I didn't want. So overall, I found adding in the black pen gave my flowers so much definition and kind of made the colors pop a bit more. So I was really happy with that decision. Now for my lettering, I used an art line stick to do the lettering. I found that the outline stick was just juicier and it kind of held its own on top of the brick image. And of course the brick image was dry before I did this, otherwise it wouldn't have gone so smoothly. And then just to make the lettering stand out a bit more, I went in with my white gel pen again and added shadows, a bit of a drop shadow, so that you could see it a bit more clearly. And then of course adding in my little pops of 3D effect that I always love to add to my lettering. So I hope you enjoyed this video and you got a lot out of it. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Thank you for watching today.